I'm in love. I found the love of my life. I waited so long for the right person. My partner does everything I've ever dreamed of in a partner and more. My partner listens to what I'm really feeling, talks me down when I'm feeling dark or have negative thoughts. My partner gives me what I need when I need it, indulges me with care, gifts, affirmations. I'm so spiritually and emotionally full, knowing I can put my full trust in my partner's hands. My partner takes care of my home, my family, champions me at work, takes me on exciting trips around the world. I can count on my partner to back me up, push me beyond my limits. My partner, my love, the love of my life, it's me. That's right. Today's episode is all about self-love, being true to yourself, providing for yourself, being confident in yourself. I'm going to show you how to become the love of your own life. Women get to a point in life where we just don't care. We've been through the BS. We're burnt out and done playing by the rules. Midlife is our time. We're fearless, confident, and ready to blow it all up for more. We are female and dangerous. I'm Jamesyn, your host and certified coach at theboldlife.coach. Let's do the work. Looking back at my teens, 20s, and even early 30s, I see how incredibly boy crazy I was. I spent so much time and energy thinking about love interests, these douchey guys I met in a bar or online, man children, boys, and I do mean boys, not men, and finding and pursuing the perfect relationship. That Cinderella story imprinted on me since I was a little girl. I always thought I would find the guy, get the guy, be total soulmates, get married, and have the perfect little family life with all of the superficial components. We would sit around every year for our perfect little family Christmas card, and then, well, I don't know what I expected to happen next because I don't think I ever really thought that far ahead. Did I really even know what kind of person would make a good life partner for me, given who I was and where I wanted to go in my life? Did I even have a plan for my own life? What even were my hopes and dreams? What was important to me beyond this superficial Christmas card life? What would have been valuable for me was to actually think about what I truly wanted for my life long before I started getting swept up in the shitstorm that is dating in the city. Not just what I dreamt about in terms of a relationship or family, but really thinking about who I was as a person, as a human, as a woman coming of age, an individual first, and then maybe save the relationship dreams for later. But those two were undeniably intertwined in my life. Who I wanted to become in my own life was all tangled up in these coming and going relationships. I would find a love interest, know next to nothing about him as a person, really. Imprint my vision of who I wanted him to be onto him, and then slowly become disillusioned by the whole thing as the illusion did not reflect reality one bit. I would eventually find out that he was not Prince Charming. Spoiler. He was not coming to save me, and I'm not sure I even liked him. These are multiple hymns. This became a pattern, often leading to disastrous results. Dating failures for sure in my mind. Diminished self-confidence and self-image. Perhaps it was me. Was I just not lovable? I could tell stories all day long about how I let myself get carried away into low-value relationships, all the way to high-value relationships that were just not a fit. The insecurity, the delusion, the time suck. But I digress. We don't need to dissect every single relationship I've had because Folks, I'm healed. I've transformed the relationship I have with others by transforming the relationship with myself. Now, don't get me wrong, it is a process and it can be a messy upward spiral. The truth is that in those single and dating in the city days, I was far too willing to give up who I was for relationships and people I knew nothing about. I was a relationship shapeshifter, bending and conforming to the latest love interest in the interest of acquiring love, acceptance, belonging, the Christmas card version of relationship success. And boy, was I not doing it well. I wasn't approaching relationships with my full, true self. I was accepting crumbs, half-assed efforts, red flag behaviors from irritating to full-blown despicable at times. Some of these dudes were just plain wasting my time. Looking back, I can see that it wasn't always their fault, though. I had some seriously low standards for a while there. I put up with shitty behavior and didn't communicate standards or expectations either, though. I didn't make it clear what it was that I was looking for. So I guess I couldn't really blame these guys for not doing the same. It's no wonder I wasn't able to find the love I desired. I wasn't loving myself or being true to myself and my own emotional needs. A lot of these relationships did not end well. To extricate myself, I would often make a big exit, avoiding a lot of communication about some of the things that were bothering me that had built up, or without giving us an opportunity to work through some of the difficulties. Instead, I think I went it alone a lot of the time. Finally, it would build up, and then I'd start an unconscious revolt. Seemingly suddenly out of nowhere, it was no longer working for me. I'd burn it all to the ground, or maybe ice someone out, just go full ghost mode, give a short but mean text lecture and bounce. One time I moved out while my partner was out of town, seriously, and left a note. I mean, I am cringing telling you that I did that. That is awful, by the way. That was so cold. Who does that? But then I wouldn't even pause to reflect on what went wrong. There was a lot of blame. There was a lot of frustration. I knew that there were mistakes made in the relationship on both sides, but I couldn't get far enough away from making these mistakes to take a good look in the mirror. I'd feel guilty to some degree about what happened. Sometimes, things that I had said, and take responsibility for my part on some level. But my life was moving so fast that I barely made time to look back before I was out there again on the next wild pursuit, looking for love in all the wrong places, unhealed, but still ready to go out and have a good time. In retrospect, I realized how terrible I was showing up in the world. Like a raging toddler. I was acting from a place of real emotional childhood, not as a mature adult, with awareness and self-restraint. My thoughts and feelings were often just running wild. It was like, oh, let me just go out there and seek immediate gratification. I lacked accountability for my behavior and my actions. As a result, I was not finding the love I desired, and I didn't know what I was doing wrong. The common denominators, usually someone got hurt. Usually there was a lack of or very violent communication. In other words, this was a toxic way to date and a gigantic waste of time. I wasn't showing up as me. I was not communicating my real desires, who I was, or my emotional needs to the object of any of these romantic desires. So how could I expect anyone to match my expectations? I was not treating me well, so how could I expect others to treat me well? How could I expect to find the love I was seeking if I wasn't able to communicate at a basic level what I needed and what I was truly doing there? I was the problem. This approach to dating and relationships is common, and it's not the most healthy or nice pattern. But it's amazing how many of us spend the prime years of our lives in constant distraction, looking for love, looking for escape from who we are inside. We are so imprinted with the idea that we as women must find love and marriage to prove our worth. Otherwise, who are we? Poor, alone, a spinster, the sad sack that is too old for love and defective, unlovable? The idea that we cannot simply profess, protect, and provide for ourselves is all around us. In the messaging we've seen our whole lives. Steve Harvey wrote an entire book on it. Act like a lady, think like a man. He tells us in the book how to recognize a good man and avoid the bad ones, right? The good ones will show up, profess their love, protect us, and definitely want to provide for us. The rest of them are just trying to get the cookie, he says. But this messaging, it still perpetuates the idea that I can't somehow do all three things for myself. But I can. Profess to love myself, protect myself financially, physically, and provide everything I need to be happy, healthy, and safe in the world. What I propose is that it should not be all about the man. We are not the Robin to Batman. You are the main character in your own life. This is your life, your opportunity to live out your dreams, find meaning, enjoy peace. So stop giving it all away. Today, I'm a very different person in terms of how I view romance and myself and how I treat myself, more importantly. It was actually through becoming a single parent that I was able to progress out of this destructive pattern and develop a strong sense of who my adult self is, how to care for myself, how to truly be myself, authentic in relationships, authentic at work, authentic in my personal life. And through this, I was able to shift the energy that I put out in the world. I shifted my entire worldview, emphasis, focus, and cares. I spent my time and energy on what was truly important to me. My son, my career, building a business, being with core friends and family. There were things I wanted to accomplish in life. I had core values around how I wanted to live, and I focused my efforts in those areas. At the time, I was blessed with the constraint of time because it forced me to make hard decisions about what was really important to me and what I valued. I stopped giving people time who didn't merit my time or bring value to my life. I literally had and have still 0 guys in my phone. You know, the kind who reach out with, "What's up? What are you doing? You up? We should go out soon." I do this intentionally. I get an unknown number, call, or text. I don't answer. I do not reply to the text. I don't say, "Who is this?" Because I know that if I wanted to know the name of the caller, then I would have it already listed in my phone. I vacated those time wasters from my life completely. I didn't have time to mess around with fuckboys, bullshitters, situationships, because I was busy doing meaningful things. Today, I often health check myself just to make sure I'm spending my time with the right influences in my life. There's this well-known quote that says, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." It's very true, right? It kind of speaks to the idea that birds of a feather flock together, and it really shines a light on who you are showing up as. Because if the people around you are showing up as uninterested in growth, sitting around, being toxic, dwelling on the past, blaming others for their current position in life, that's going to affect you and how you see the world and how you act and how you take responsibility for your life choices. I definitely don't want my presence in the world to reflect a bunch of losers. I want to spend time with people who are bringing value, learning, growth. They are happy people. They are filled with love. They are interested in moving forward and doing great things, being positive. During this time, I also took a major pause on dudes. I stopped searching for love. I stopped dating. I stopped desperately trying to get the universe to respond to my begging for the perfect guy. The universe can sense desperation and lack of self-love and readiness for a relationship a mile away. Trust me. Almost zero dating for a couple years gave me a great time to think about what I truly wanted in a relationship. It gave me time to grieve some of the should have beens, the could have been so beautiful, unrequited love stories in my mind. Carrying around unresolved emotional baggage is a real problem for so many of us. We don't pause. Instead, we bring the hurt, insecurity, lack of self-confidence, and bitterness from one relationship to the next because we haven't paused to deal with it. I spent time evaluating the scenarios I had been hanging on to, the people I had been hanging on to, and I released them over time, but it took time. I realized that none of those guys were the lost love of my life, because if they were, the relationship would have worked out now, wouldn't it have? If someone is indeed the love of your life, that means the relationship is a fit. Both people want to be in it and work for the good of the relationship together. So if it didn't happen, you didn't lose the love of your life. It's really that simple. It took a while for me to realize that one. But I spent a lot of time alone in reflection about what didn't work in past relationships and what my part in it was. As I got more distance from all of those open wounds, I had a little different perspective about who I was at the time, how I was showing up. And it didn't always feel great to look back and see myself acting with such low value behavior. After that distance I got, some of those open wounds had time to heal, and then I healed as well. This would help ensure that I would stop repeating the mistakes, the old patterns that were really going nowhere and that did not reflect the high-value woman that I am today. Now, I was lucky because I also had a child that really helped me shift my attention from what was out there to bring it all closer to what was here at home, what really mattered to me most. I thought about what kind of person I would want to be in my son's life. And then I looked back on my dating patterns, and it kind of made me shudder a bit. I definitely did not want to be one of those single parents who brings around multitudes of boyfriends and new daddy flavors of the week. I had seen way too many movies to go in that direction. It was not for me. Bad shit happens to mamas and kids. We know that. My child already has a dad, and I was committed to not bringing that revolving door of guys into my child's life. It just wasn't what I wanted. I wasn't closing the door on love, but I was pausing. I was becoming very intentional about it. It made me consider the quality of attributes a possible love interest would have to have in order to be with me. Since I didn't have much time and energy to dedicate to dating, I was only willing to consider dating someone who was genuine, on the same page, looking for the same things in life. Who he had to be a magnetic match of both mind and body. Now, I wasn't going over the top with a list, but what I'm saying is that this person had better be someone special if I was going to take time away from my passion for my job, my passion for my child. And I knew that if the person did not fit my key qualifications, it just wasn't worth the time. Now, for many of us in our young dating years, the qualifications for a boyfriend or a girlfriend are super minimal, right? Like, oh, must be hot and cool. I don't care if he doesn't have a job. Like, oh, he's not going to college, not thinking about things like that, right? But as we get older, it often swings in the opposite direction. Oh, I'm only dating a man who's rich, smart, funny, hot, marriage material, tall, fit, likes sushi and world travel, or whatever is your particular flavor of, fun. We switch from one direction, zero qualifications, to then being hypercritical as we try to control every aspect of every prospective date and the parameters of our Cinderella fantasy. Both of these approaches, though, to dating are a disaster. And they almost point to just us looking to fulfill that part of us that wants love. But how well of a fit is this person beyond the superficial characteristics for you? During my own transition, I learned to be comfortable with myself and live life for me on my own terms, partly by force, sure, partly by discovery and reflection. Previously, when in relationships, it was almost like the strong, opinionated woman that I am would melt into a blob of indifference. When it was time to pick a restaurant or an activity, I would transform into someone with seemingly no thoughts or interests of my own. It reminds me of the movie Coming to America. Yes, the 1988 version. It's like I suddenly couldn't remember what I wanted. It was like the submissive woman that Eddie Murphy's character was supposed to get married to. His name was Prince Akeem. So Prince Akeem asked the woman, you know, tell me about yourself. What are you interested in? And she just says like, whatever you like, whatever kind of music you like. Well, this was not very interesting to Prince Akeem. So much so that he escaped off to America to go find true love. He did not want a Stepford wife. He did not want a robotic Barbie, right? She was beautiful. She was willing to do anything that he wanted her to do, basically to be his wife, submissive love slave. But even he wasn't having it. Well, over time in my own life, I realized that I wasn't bringing my whole self to relationships because I was afraid of letting that perfect guy on paper anyway, perfect guy on paper, go. I was more focused on getting the package that he appeared to be than the actual person. I needed to look under the hood for a while, get to know the person. There was also a part of me that wanted someone to lean on, and being in a relationship can, in fact, be an escape for some of us high-performing, high-achieving women. We are so often chasing after our futures and success, working in male-dominated career settings, that it can feel nice to let someone else make the decisions once in a while. I realized that part of me did want someone nurturing. And that was great because it also helped me to discover what I don't want in a relationship and what would not work for me. Being single can be quite lonely at times, especially if you are not super outgoing or social, and doubly lonely if you're physically bound to a growing child 90% of your free time. I would always daydream about being able to do relationship and family-based things with my son, like weekend brunch. I wanted to travel, take my boy out to experience the world, camp under the stars, etc., etc. I can remember when my son was about 2 years old. I finally said, fuck this. I'm not waiting around for the perfect romantic relationship to experience the world. I don't want to let this wonderful time in my child's life pass me by. I don't want to give up on my dream. So I'm going to go out there and do exactly what I want to do anyway, with or without a man, without, alone, or with my 2-year-old. And so I did. And I have some of the best lifetime level memories because of it. For example, at that time when he was 2, we went camping in Tahoe, roasted marshmallows together in front of the fire. He has this little mini chair and I had a normal size one, and it super stormed while we were there. We forgot our blow-up mattress and spent a miserable night sleeping in the car, me and my little toddler baby. We got hyper scared hearing real or imagined bears in the camp. And then I have this cute little picture of us. We were cheersing our drinks in front of the fire. These memories of really living a bold life out on my own, without a dude, feels like pride, achievement, love, family, individualism, courage, freedom, even if it doesn't look the way that I had envisioned. Since then, I never stopped waiting on anyone or anything to do the next bold thing in my life. I pursued my own passions and found my voice. I've gone on solo trips like I went to Dubai last year. I stayed in this swanky hotel, had cocktails at the beach club, and visited all of the architectural wonders alone. People were so surprised to find I was traveling alone by choice. But by this time, the idea of spending a grand life with myself, doing grand things, hardly fazed me. Over the years, I had grown the spine to regularly and shamelessly have dinner and drinks alone at the bar and made bold moves in my career life because I wanted to, like opening my own businesses and climbing the corporate ladder. I could do whatever I wanted, and there was no one to negotiate with at all. Taking cruises, moving to a new state. Why? Because I could and I wanted to. I became limitless. My strong relationship with myself has allowed me to trust myself, my choices, my capabilities, and the results that I can achieve. I know that whatever comes at me, I can not only handle it, but I can thrive because I can always count on me. I'm emboldened and empowered by all of my accomplishments that I've done out there on my own. I know that I'll show up for myself and that I have a shit ton of value to bring to any table. Now, if the right man comes along, great, but it's a nice to have, not a need to have. And I have standards and boundaries, believe me. This self-confidence, knowledge of self, and courage caused great shifts in my world. I was focused on my own goals, my own passions. I learned my emotional needs and developed strong boundaries to uphold my priorities. My priorities. I completely transformed my need for a relationship to complete me to showing up for myself. I respect my interests, priorities, boundaries, and peace far too much to give it all away, especially to someone who is less than deserving or just hasn't proved it yet. Or maybe that person is just not ready for the bold life that I have planned, and I'm not slowing down. There are a few actionable takeaways for you. If you're looking to transform your romantic relationships or the relationship that you have with yourself, take some time alone, period. Spend time with yourself out in the world doing things that you love just because you love them. Or in between relationships, really pause and reflect on what went wrong. Give yourself some time to grieve and get over it. Figure out why you acted the way that you did. What could your own behaviors in the relationship teach you about your core values, your needs, your desires? Just start with what you don't want. What you don't want can tell you a lot about what you do want. Treat yourself with compassion. We all have a need to be loved. But when you are desperate for love, there is a hole to fill in your heart. And you need to fill that with self-love first. We've all heard that expression. How can someone else love you if you don't love yourself? Right? It's true, though. Treat yourself with the love and care you wish you were receiving elsewhere. Treat yourself. Give yourself rest. Give yourself love. Allow yourself time to grow as an individual. Treat yourself as a high-value woman. Respect yourself by not putting up with bullshit in relationships or otherwise. Being able to communicate clearly, directly, and with dignity goes a long way. With all of the dating apps today, some of the characters and their messages are just appalling. I don't know why people do it. I said no more. If you want to go on an app to get some action, then more power to you. But also realize that if you're looking for a solid partner, you're looking for good character, it's a red flag when they do things like get super sexual up front or don't follow basic manners in conversing with you early on. Like they're not asking you anything about you. If they wanted or were thinking about a relationship down the road, you'd think they would want to get to know you. If that's how they act at the beginning, you are really in for it later. Take off the googly eyeglasses and remember your standards, girl. Take some time to clearly identify what you want for your own life. Look forward. What is future you doing? What are future you's goals? In 10 years, what would you want to have accomplished by then? What if you could accomplish anything? No barriers, no limits. and go out and set an action plan and execute. Don't allow distractions to get in your way. Let love come to you. Be found. It is true that love won't find you eating ice cream in your living room, but don't always be a chaser in relationships. Spend time doing what you're passionate about. You want to find a partner who's on your wavelength. If you don't want a fuckboy who spends his weekends out drinking with buddies at the club, don't go looking for a dude at the club on a Saturday night. You see what I mean? Don't wait for a knight in shining armor to live your life. Just get out there and live it solo. Have a solo ship with yourself. The most important relationship you'll ever have is with you. So take care of you. Treat you with love. Treat you with compassion. And always have fun. My own personal transformation to self-love was not perfect, especially when it comes to dating. Sure, I made a few poor decisions in the last 12 years, but the universe was likely testing me as I developed and redeveloped and honed my new sense of self. It brought me some interesting tests for sure, but they were mostly brief little mistakes or setbacks, and I quickly got the hell out of there once I realized the path that I was on. And then I moved on. Back to me, get up, try it again, and move forward. A solo relationship is self-love. Self-love is what's lasting. Self-love is confidence. It's freedom. Self-love is empowerment. It's spending your energy where it counts on you and building the best version of you. A version of life that provides meaning and happiness. You are the love of your life. That's all I have for today. If you're ready to do focused work in this area to achieve your goals, attain next level success on your own terms, let's get going. Visit me at theboldlife.coach for a strategy session. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If so, give me a follow and a quick review. You can always reach me at theboldlife.coach. See you back here next week at Female and Dangerous.